kind of relatively short notice meeting. Karen, since we have a light agenda and they're waiting, you can go ahead and put on our guests, Peter Olson and Larry Cook.
Okay, so they should be there.
Yep. Hello, Peter. Larry. Basically, yep. This is a continuation of the certificate of appropriateness for 203 East Genesee Street. We first talked about this project way back in October 9th of 2019, pre-COVID, and renovations have been ongoing. Make sure that you're unmuted, Larry and Peter. I'm going to ask.
How many people are we supposed to be seeing right now?
Two.
All right. I just muted. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Your video's off. I don't
You need to start your video so we can see you. Otherwise,
Well, we're trying.
Okay.
It's a very interesting image, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate.
Tap that. There you go. So
There
you
we
might
go.
have to hold it because it's pointing up to the ceiling.
All right.
There's.
Oh, gotcha. Hey, there. Hey. There's
Okay.
Peter. Try to get us both here.
Yep,
All right,
we've been
there we
meeting by
go.
Zoom since April, so we are all relative experts. Larry, your video went off again.
All right.
Ah, there we
We're
go.
back. Hold on.
Cool. Once you get it going, you don't touch
All
it.
right. Yeah, Peter, don't touch it.
Is there something that holds it up?
Us. I'll hold it. All right.
Okay.
I'll hold it. All right. You guys can see us now and you can hear us?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay. All right. I think we're good. You're going to have to be the scribe, Peter, because I'm holding this thing up.
So Peter, if you could provide an update about the project since you last met with the board.
The exterior is essentially done of the main house. We haven't done anything with the carriage house. First of all, the costs have gone skyrocketing. We had to go to the basement with the part of the.
You can take your mask off if you want.
Okay.
I think it'll be a little better.
The house from the entry of the kitchen to the dining room was torn down to where there were 2 bedrooms, and those were stripped both sides of the studs, and it went right down to the basement. So that's all been rebuilt, and the roof is on, and practically everything had to have new siding, new windows. There's nothing done inside, and I mean nothing. They've just taken it right down to the studs.
Mhm.
So that's, well, Craig, haven't you been in it? You have.
I have not been inside. I've only
Oh.
seen it from the sidewalk. And if it's okay with you, I could share a photo I took, when was it? A couple on the 6th, a few weeks ago.
Go ahead. That's,
Okay, so I think this helps to describe what we're going to be addressing tonight, maybe among other things. The carriage house is off of the picture here, but as you said, we haven't begun renovations to it. What I noticed here is that the Greek Revival facade, the columns, the pediment, all of those things are looking terrific. The new roof is installed as we selected with the copper flashing, and the dormer addition, which we had an extensive discussion about back in October, it can be seen here, and I think it's as we had hoped, to be a kind of a minimal impact to the overall effect. So for, for what has been accomplished that we reviewed, I think it's been well done and well received. The chimney that was removed, I don't see that negatively impacting the overall appearance. A couple things that were left on the table last time that we really need to focus on today is the overall paint colors. We have the white on the columns and the one side of the front facade. The other sides are white trim, but with a gray body. So that would be one point of discussion. Second would be the windows, the window replacement. If you remember, we had decided that the eyebrow over that large window was not appropriate, was not original, even though it's been there a while. And we agreed that that could come down. I can see that that's been removed, and it's, in my opinion, an improvement. I do have a question on the replacement window where there were two windows before. It looks like there's a single window with a mullion layout. Yeah.
That window, okay, so there were never, okay, going way back, there were two windows, okay?
Right.
Sometime they took those two windows out and put the window that's there now, as you see it. That was done, we don't know when, but that window is a replacement of the single window. And the reason we didn't go to two window openings was because it would have been prohibitively expensive. So we stayed with the single window. The other reason is that the focus should really be on the Greek columns and the particularly Greek facade. So that's why that is the way it is. And with that eyebrow, what it was doing is it was bringing your eye over to the addition rather than to the original sort of Greek house.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all understand what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
that window was the original window that was done after the two windows were there, which goes way back.
And the interior walls in that room are all brick, which was acting as insulation. So, and we initially didn't want to take all the interior woodwork down because we'd have to replicate it. Well, it's being reinstalled, but this window is an exact replication of the window that was there, and it's a Marvin window, so it's a top quality. And Tim Dubois, who's the contractor, brought a picture of the former window and showed it to Karen earlier today.
Oh, okay. Karen, do you happen to have that?
Yep, I was just gonna
I'm
offer
going
to
to
share
stop
that.
sharing mine so we can put that one up. Oh, there we go.
So this is the original he took before the renovation began.
Mm-hmm.
Charming,
Thank-
isn't it?
So you can see this, the features are the same as it is currently. So it's a replacement in kind, if you will.
Craig,
Yep.
are there any
Right, right.
visuals that show the two windows versus one window that we were just discussing?
Well, the library had some, and somehow they got misplaced, but they date back to 1835 or 45, and they have to have been out of there a long time ago because the interior insulation is brick and it doesn't have an indication of where those windows were.
Craig,
Yeah.
I don't recall, but what window was indicated in the approval for the renovation of the wing?
I'm glad you asked. According to our minutes from October 9th, 2019, if I can just skim through this. Here we go. There was a discussion on, I'm going to skip through here, actually, first paragraph. Restore the front elevation with in-kind materials and install Marvin windows. And then there was another note later on, I think, talking about half round gutters. Oh, discussion on replacement windows. They would replace in-kind styles and would be metal clad on the exterior, wood windows, custom made by Marvin. The front picture window has originally, or was originally, two separate double hung windows, according to a vintage photo found by Mr. Olson. And he voiced considering which style should be used for the window location. Either way, the eyebrow feature above the window would be eliminated as it was not an original feature. So that was pretty much the direction as it's gone. The eyebrow has been removed.
So we did not give or indicate a preference.
At that point, it was the last paragraph, as I see it, was a motion was made by me to approve the removal of the existing roofing to be replaced with CertainTeed 3-tab architectural shingles in weathered wood color with copper flashings, no aluminum snow slide, new dormer to be installed in the rear, finished with wood cladding, to remove the center chimney at the roof ridge line and use half-round galvanized gutters where visible with optional leaf guard with clapboard siding to match existing and new clapboard to replace existing cedar shakes. The motion was seconded by Elizabeth Russell and all approved in favor. Other items were tabled for future review, such as paint color, need paint chips, material samples for siding exterior, front door options for repainting, and details for renovation of the garage or the carriage house as we talked about it. It was noted that photographs and material samples are very helpful. These items could be discussed further at the next meeting currently scheduled for November 13th. That was.
Craig, if you read the next paragraph, it talks about the windows.
Oh, okay. Yep, a motion was made by me, second by Nikki, to approve replacement of all windows visible from the street, except the front picture window in question with insulated low E glazed Marvin or equal to match exactly to the existing windows in regards to size, function, number of lights, and size of mutton. And windows will be white in color. The motion was put to a vote and all were in agreement. So the next one talks about the carriage house, but then it basically said, you know, we would be reviewing that later date. So yeah, this window was kind of left because there was some indecision on which direction to go. We can weigh in on that tonight. The other important consideration would be the paint color, which, you know, to go back to my photo would be the gray versus the white or any other color. I can share that. Yeah. So I'll leave it open to either Peter or Larry, if you want to kind of explain the direction or if there's anything else we should weigh in on and decide as the renovations continue. And the board members, if they want to make any clarifying statements or express any opinions. But first, let me pass it over to Larry. Peter, do you want to kind of explain where we're at?
Peter.
In terms where we're at in the exterior is essentially done.
Mhm.
And it was my understanding when the question was asked of Greg by Larry about the paint that we ended up painting, it was okay to do that. And my feeling is with that color, it's soft enough and it doesn't detract from the pillared part of the house, you know, and it's very simple. It brings back the proper scale to the house. And it had shutters before, and I'm not a person that likes shutters with picture windows. Shutters in my thoughts should be able to close, but and cover the window. I don't know whether we have any shutters for that side windows, but
No,
possibly.
I don't know if we had them on. They
Yeah.
didn't have any before.
Any questions? But it does clean up that side of the house, you know, it just,
I
Okay,
guess,
thank you.
I
Go ahead,
guess,
Greg.
I think we should, well, let me back up. Was the, and I'm asking you, Craig, in terms of the official record, was the wing always going to be different in body color from the original core of the house in the front?
The paint was not discussed. It was put off, as I read the official minutes.
Okay.
Paint was going to be discussed at a later date, and this
Okay.
is the later date.
Okay,
I did receive a call from Larry as it was being done. Remember saying I could not speak for the commission. So, you know, what has been done to the house was essentially at the owner's risk. We're looking at it now to see if it's appropriate. So the other thing we can add in is the lack of the shutters on that picture window. You know, the shutters were shown on the photo, but I can understand if they're deteriorated. And I tend to agree with Peter that it would be kind of a token gesture to put them on a picture window when obviously they can't close the opening. But I'll leave that to open discussion.
from my,
I'd like, if I can, I'd just like, this is Larry, just like to make one comment. If you look at the photo that's on your screen and you imagine all of that white, a lot of the trim will just wash out. And what will happen is your eye is now going to focus on this big block of white as you come into the driveway. And what will get lost is, as you said, the core of the building. And I think you can see that, you know what I mean? If you can just imagine that, like we'll call it the addition part. If that's all white, it's just going to be this big block of white and you're going to lose that core visually. So that would be my 2 cents on the whole thing.
I think just to go back to what Craig was commenting on.
could you identify yourself? I don't know who he's talking.
Greg, yeah.
Greg Daly,
Greg Bailey?
Daly.
Daly, okay.
To go back to the points that Craig was making in terms of what was open for discussion in this evening's meeting. In my opinion, I think the shutters on the so-called picture window, I don't see the lack of them as a negative. In terms of the color, I'm struggling with the difference of the two parts of the home. And with the addition of the with the picture window, which is somewhat out of character with the rest of the windows on the house, and I'm not debating how long it's been there. I'm just saying because it is substantially different in size and shape than all the other windows, and it has the different color around it, my eye is drawn to the addition. That's just my opinion. So I'm just throwing that out there for the rest of the committee members so we can have the discussion.
Yes,
Now,
this is Pam Bender. Peter, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Larry. Yes,
Hi, Pam.
I actually agree with Greg. Basically, a Greek revival house is not, or not, I shouldn't say it's not. The body would be white or an off-white. Like the Matilda Johnson Gage house is actually an off-white because historically that's how that was. And that was kind of a different situation where they were doing it museum quality. But a Greek revival body would be white with the trim being white or off-white or cream, and a green door or black shutters, that kind of thing. When I saw that paint was there, I thought maybe it was primer when I first saw it, because immediately what it looks like to me is that's just an addition. And it's not an addition, it's part of the original house, or ever since we've known it, it's original house. And your eye just goes to that. And I don't know, you know, I noticed the pillars, the columns, and the white, and it looks gorgeous. And it would enhance the look historically and aesthetically, very pleasing in my opinion, very historically correct if the whole body was the same. Either it's all an off-white or all white, but not this tan or gray and then a white on the pillar area. And because the window is not what there was there originally when the house was built, your eye especially goes to that. It's just sort of like comes out like a sore thumb to me. But, and I did do a lot of investigating on paint colors to do with Greek revivals. And for the most part, probably everybody kind of would realize that when they drive by a Greek revival, it typically is all one color, and that color would be a white or an off-white. And it can have a different color, cream color trim on it to accent. If you have something you really want to accent, which you do on a Greek revival, of course. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. Pam, did you want me to share the research that you sent around?
Yeah, you can put it up. I found this, it's a resource for a guide for historical commissions. And there it says the most typical paint scheme for Greek revival houses was white with green doors and shutters and black sash. And it was quite a few things online that I picked up from different guidelines for commissions and National Register and stuff that talked about just saying the same thing.
Okay. Nikki, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say how much I appreciate the effort and the money that you're putting into this house. We are so grateful for that. And I appreciate how much you've spent and that you're hesitant to increase the budget. However, I do have to agree that a two-tone Greek revival in and of itself is not appropriate in terms of its historic accuracy. I understand it's kind of a done deal now. Paint is a sacrificial layer, so this is not a permanent change. So if this was something that had been presented to us at first, I would have tried to encourage not to have the main block of the house one color and then the wing a different color. I think I understand you want to differentiate, but it does kind of draw the eye to the wing instead of to the main part of the house. So, but as it is done, I guess I would kind of have to say I can't approve of what was done, but because it is a sacrificial paint layer, that perhaps moving forward when the house needs to be repainted, that we make sure that we address it and maybe try to get the entire paint scheme a little bit more historically appropriate.
Okay.
That would be my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. From what I hear, again, tremendous effort on this ongoing restoration. The shutters seem to be a non-issue. The fact that they are not there is not something anyone is missing. The removal of the eyebrow, as we called it, I think was a positive. And I believe we're in harmony saying that the replacement Marvin window with the mullions at top is pretty much a replacement in kind, as I would say. The body color, though, the gray color on the front of the house is really kind of a sticking point here. Personally, I would differentiate the white on the, if I can go back to the photo. The white in the front and this side would really be the two facades that I would want to see changed to white. The dormer in the back and the body of the house to the rear, I don't think are necessary to be white, but I'm open to, correction if people feel differently.
Well, if I can chime
Sure,
in at this
Greg.
point. I think the fact that the dormer is a different color might be actually
A
in that case
benefit.
appropriate because it is showing that it is an addition. It is a new element, not an original to the original roof line of the home. So in that case, I think that different color is okay in my mind.
Mhm.
But as I stated earlier, I think the wing, the two planes on the eastern wing, I think should be white.
Yep. And good. I just changed the view because I took a
Mhm.
couple photos. People can see that. And then
Do you have
on
a
this
side
side,
view? Okay, there, okay.
yeah,
So
It's pretty
that you can,
obscure.
yeah, you can see the gray color there on the side there too, but I would definitely concur that the wing should be changed to the white, the same as the column, the main part of the house. I also agree with Greg that the addition, the dormer, the addition there could stay the gray color because it's not original to the house. I do question whether or not to maybe change what you can see from the road on the west side there, because you can see that it's a gray color. I don't know if that would,
Check right here.
pop out or look a little funny, that it's just not matching the rest of the house. But
It does match.
But I'd like to ask a question of the board, if I may.
Sure. Go ahead,
If
Gary.
the wing was painted white and in an effort not to lose the trim,
Mhm.
would you be open to like an off-white color on the trim so that the trim still reads? Because when that's all white, all that trim is it's not gonna appear. You'll
Yeah.
get some subtle shadow lines, but essentially it's all just gonna disappear and it's just gonna be this big block of white. So I think my thought is it just needs a little bit of distinction.
Yeah, and that would be appropriate, to have a slightly off shade for the trim.
Is
Okay.
that going to then carry through to the trim on the rest of the front facade?
No, that should, I think, remain. I mean, my view is that should always remain all white.
Well,
See,
then it seems to me what we're doing then is we're going back to visually calling out the wing for special treatment. And we're calling it extra attention to it versus the overall front facade of the home. I think that the argument that the trim on the wing would be lost if everything was white, well, you could also apply that reasoning to the main body of the Greek Revival portion to the west.
Well,
Where's the loss of the trim there? It's all white,
I think what sets it off on the main block though is that there are the shutters that kind of differentiate the windows.
and the pillars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the relief of the trim is significantly more. So those shadow lines are much more pronounced than on the wing section, which, you know, somebody went to a lot of trouble to create that trim, and I'm just afraid if it's all white, you're really going to lose it. It's just going to be this
Well-
big giant.
So
block
make the
of
body off white. Just paint that a lighter color. Leave all the trim white and paint the body off white, so it's not as distinct as it is now.
This paint is a very light shade of gray. If you look at this sample.
You can see that.
I
Yeah,
think-
Karen,
I
do you
think-
have a paint sample that perhaps you could put up?
Yep,
Where-
he has it.
Okay, yeah. Just so we're
Karen,
clear.
do you want,
Peter's, he's walking over to
here,
give Karen the sample.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it is kind of a conundrum because that window, that sort of picture window definitely draws your eye.
Mhm.
As you come in the driveway, it's like boom. And I wonder, maybe we should talk a little bit more about putting shutters on it to sort of, is that going to create even more
I
detail?
think-
I'm just raising a question.
Personally,
or-
I think it would,
Or does it bring the detail down? You know, I don't know.
Okay, here's the sample, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can see it.
it's kind of
I-
interesting because as it shows up in your panel versus the photo, it's a little different. Since you're on your Zoom, I can put this up and we can literally see it together. My photo tends to make it look a little bit more tannish.
Yeah, it
than-
depends on the light, of course.
Yeah, that's true as you move it.
But I think your photograph, Craig, I think your photograph, though, the color rendition may be a little bit hard to see. The relative light versus dark of the wing color versus the rest of the house is very accurate. I mean, from when I was over there,
Yeah,
you can see that relative difference.
that seems to be a bit better, sharper photo now. Personally, I think you're going to see shadow lines from the trim and the crispness of the detailing, even if it was the same color. So I tend to
You know,
disagree.
Bringing the point up that Larry was making about putting the shutters there, of course, they were there before this, correct? That was a picture window with shutters on either side. If we did think about something like that, it would, and he painted the clapboards white, like, you know, if we were back when and we were trying to make decisions, we wouldn't have, you know, been picking this choice right here, I don't think, at least I wouldn't be. But I don't know if I'm that against painting the body, this wing part white and putting black shutters up to break up the white. Trying to visualize that, but
Is-
how about,
Hey, let me ask, hey, Craig,
Sure, I'm going to.
I have a, can somebody Photoshop like this and paint over the I mean, I can't because I don't have the expertise, but somebody could take this picture, Photoshop it in white, put two shutters on it and do a couple or three scenarios where they do it all white. They do it white with like the trim being beige or something, or an off-white. And then they do one with white and the two black shutters. And you know what I'm saying? And somebody could Photoshop that and we could really have a good idea of what it would look like.
I think it actually, well, you could just take a look at the windows behind the pillars there. I mean, you're going to see, you know, that's the whole idea of a Greek revival, the real white and the black shutters. That's the historic aesthetically pleasing, fantastic Greek revival. That's, and so, to me, it would be very appropriate. I know that the shutter would not cover up the window, but I wasn't offended with it when that window, the picture window was there with the black shutters before. I didn't, let's face it, how many historic homes have shutters that actually work?
None.
Yeah.
Ours
We
do.
do.
Well, yeah, but
So-
how often do
Well,
you
I mean,
use them?
some do, and that's great, but a lot of them don't. And,
Yeah.
I don't,
Well-
in my
Well,
opinion,
I-
that would be appropriate, but
I don't want to put shutters on that picture window.
I would, if the two discussions are, if the two discussions are in play, I would agree with Mr. Olson.
I
on
can't
the-
see what we're supposed to be seeing.
Oh,
I would agree with Peter's,
Continue.
I would agree with Peter's opinion on the shutters, the omission of the shutters. I can live with that, but I think the wing should definitely be white.
yep.
Definitely. And I think the west side of the house, the original part of the house, it should be white. And the
Okay.
fact that the color was painted without us having a chance to, discuss it, I think is problematic, but it should, that's
You gotta mention that you did
the
talk.
way it went.
well, the other option too would be because landscaping is not done on that house, and I would imagine some landscaping would be put in. You could always put in some smaller ornamental flowering tree or something like that to break up if you think it's going to be too white, which I don't think it would be, but you could break it up nicely with some bushes or something
Well,
small.
if we plant something in front of it, you're not gonna see what's there now, so we could leave it.
No, I'm talking about lower, I'm not talking about up to the roof line or anything. I'm just talking about
No, I
Mhm.
think,
breaking it up a bit.
Visually, yeah.
Well, so far, we have about 400,000 in the house, and we haven't got anything done inside. And to have to do something over again, when it was my understanding that there was a verbal approval of that color before I authorized the painter to go forward.
Well, at any
There was no
point, not,
verbal approval.
it had to be, anything that comes up that needs to be discussed has to be discussed at a meeting like today. It has to be the whole board.
I
It can't
understand
be-
that, but I wasn't the one that asked about it, and the person that was asked should have declared that, meaning Craig.
I did. I said I cannot speak for the board. That,
Did he say that?
I thought it was the primer, to be honest.
I would find it completely out of character with the chairman. It'd be out of his character for him to agree to something like that without us knowing it. I've never seen him act that way in the past. I would be very surprised if that ever happened.
Thank you, Greg. So the point before us, there's several issues. The shutters are debatable, but the body color, I think there's a unanimous agreement that it should be white. That if anything was to not be white, it would be the rear of the house, the dormer, and that which cannot be seen from the street. With that said, we could give you an approval for the white, and that would just need to be corrected. The other issues, the window, which we hadn't weighed in on, I don't see any clear disagreement on that. We could proceed with what was installed. I don't see any need to change the trim color at this point. That could remain as it has been finished. we've already discussed gutters, so that you already have approval on. I'm just trying to see what else here would need to be discussed outside the carriage house, which, as you said, is put off for now.
And
So-
hopefully it doesn't fall down.
Well, that would be demolition by neglect. Hopefully it's stabilized. So, Peter, we are, I think, prepared to give you approval on the windows, the removal of the eyebrow, which I believe we already discussed, but with the understanding that the portions we discussed tonight would be painted white, just the siding color. It would be these areas here on this side. And if I may also clarify, oops, sorry, going the wrong way. At least this panel up to the bay. Beyond that, I think it's obscured. So we're not talking lots of square footage here. It's simply something that the consensus seems to be that it should be white.
So are you making a motion they can vote on?
Yeah, unless there's a disagreement, I think we could move on this and at least have it as part of the record.
Has everybody on the board seen the house up front?
I have.
Yes. Yeah, I drove by it
Yes.
today.
Well, you haven't been out of the car though?
I have. I've been up to, well, the sidewalk area.
I've been up to the house, I've been up next to the house, and I've walked all the way to the back.
I have not been to the house.
And typically I don't go beyond the sidewalk unless I'm invited. Anything else, Peter or Larry?
No.
Okay. So why don't we just clarify where we are tonight and proceed from here? If anybody wants to provide a motion, if not, I will put the motion on the table that the portions discussed, this piece of the facade, which would be visible from the street, as well as the two other facades on the right-hand side of the, whoop, I keep going the wrong way, of the building to be painted white. And we understand there will not be shutters installed at this time. The rest of the building can remain as it is, the colors as they are. Am I missing anything else?
The front window?
And the front window, yeah, is approved as it has been installed as a replication of the picture window that has been there in the past.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, Pam seconds. Any further discussion?
I'd like to just ask if, I know, or I'd just like to ask timetable.
At
Let's
this
finish
point-
the motion and then we can discuss.
Yeah, at this point, we can clarify that, but the motion is on the table. It's been seconded. All in favor indicate by raising your hand and say aye.
Aye.
I believe this is unanimous of the members present. Larry so motion, sorry, procedural. Any opposed? None's noted. Motion passes. To answer your question, Larry, as far as timetable, this would be drafted as a certificate of appropriateness that then will be issued by the code officer to you. I believe there is a time schedule that would go with any certificate of appropriateness. I believe it's either 6 months or a year, but I cannot remember. That's really procedural for the code officer, since it's the code officer's responsibility to see that.
I would say it would be no
Yeah,
more than
fine.
6 months. It may even be
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, and then quite honestly, after 6 months, we're going to be getting into winter weather. So we would really like to see this completed, before we
The
get. into
painter that I had do the painting, the exterior painting,
Mhm.
is a teacher at FM. So it depends on what his time schedule is to get this finished.
Understood.
There would not be a lot of preparation because that's already been done.
Right.
Craig,
Yes, go ahead.
could you put up the two additional photographs of the home?
Sure. Oh, whoop, keep going the wrong way. I apologize. This photo?
Yep, and then the next one?
Yep.
Okay,
And I can share these with you.
I'm just doing this for myself. I'm just photographing them. So, okay, I'm finished.
Okay. Understood. At this point, I don't see anything else on the exterior that we will have to weigh in on. So we could probably say that we've kind of completed our review of this. Of course, we are available to answer questions, to give guidance. We have collectively decades of knowledge to offer, and for the bargain price of free. So if you get into any kind of sticky situation,
Bargain price, it's free.
yeah. And
I was just gonna add, if y'all want to come out with some paintbrushes and stuff, we'd be okay with that.
understood, it could be a community effort maybe, but
Yeah.
as I mentioned,
The number of people that have gone by and said they liked what it looks like right now would surprise you. And I wondered whether we were lucky in getting this house to begin with.
yeah, well, Peter, no, our review and approval in no way is meant to diminish the appreciation that I feel personally, and I think the board has expressed, of really saving this house. It's truly a gift to the entire community to see this house being preserved in such a careful manner. So my
Yes,
hat's off.
I second that. It's been wonderful to see you care about it enough, Peter, that you're doing a beautiful job. And I thank you.
And I'd like to add too, I mean, I've seen at firsthand what's been done to this building, and it's astonishing. This building was in really, really bad shape. I mean, it was like on its deathbed. And what Peter has done is truly remarkable. And so I would agree with all of you on that.
Here is a book I would recommend to anybody.
Oh,
What's it say?
That Greek revival, something,
yeah.
Greek Revival America. It's put out by the National Trust. It's by Roger G. Kennedy. And I strongly recommend it. There are some upstate, some local central New York buildings in this book, which will give you an idea of how strong a Greek Revival collection we have in our, in our local area.
Mhm.
It's an excellent book. And it has a lot of good visual reference. And the discussion we had tonight would be the committee's viewpoint on paint color would be reinforced by what's in that book. It's a really wonderful book to look at.
Yep, Greg, I thank you for that. And Karen, we might want to put that on the list of materials to add to our growing library of knowledge that's available to anybody in the village.
Thank you. I was
Who-
just
who is-
looking to see if we had it.
I'm pretty sure we don't.
No,
No,
we
Who
don't
is
have
the,
that one.
Who's the author? Again, I didn't get that.
Greek Revival America is the title.
Yep,
And the
I got that.
The author is Roger G. Kennedy.
Okay, thank you.
And I bought it of all places in the world. Where did I get it? I bought it from someone selling books at the farmer's market.
Oh, I know that guy. Good for
And,
you.
And I can assure you, the book is in excellent condition, and I certainly did not pay anywhere as close to what it's worth. I got lucky.
Beat me there. So Peter, Larry, is there anything else that we can help you with tonight?
Not that I'm aware of.
Unless you can all write checks.
all right.
I will take it
Peter
under
and
advisement.
we'll release you from the meeting. So
Yep.
we'll
Thank you, Larry, Peter.
All right,
Always a
thank you,
pleasure.
guys.
Take care
Thank
now.
you.
Very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Procedurally, I think maybe we should take a look at the meeting minutes from our last meeting. I know we're going a little bit out of order. Everyone should have received them. Would it be too much to ask? Let me stop that. Screen share. This would be the minutes from August 12th. Everybody should have received these. If everyone has been able to review these, I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to, oh, go ahead, Nikki. I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, Pam made the motion. Nikki, do you want a second?
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. Any corrections or changes? If not, all in favor indicate acceptance by raising your hand or saying aye.
Bye.
Okay, and any opposed? None. Motion passes. Meeting minutes are approved.
Thank you.
Karen.
Well, I was going to just mention, I don't know if this is something, Craig, you were already going to bring up. I know we talked about if we were meeting tonight that perhaps the next meeting will forego unless an application comes in.
Yeah, because a couple members have already indicated they won't be available. I could be remotely from Massachusetts, but that's always iffy because I'm never sure if I'm going to have good Wi-Fi. So if there's no disagreement, I'd like to just plan on canceling the next meeting and then meeting again at our next scheduled time in October.
I suppose if we get something that we do need to talk about it, we could just have it a week after or something, still
Yeah.
have one in September, but not on the 10th.
So, yep, so the meeting on the 9th will be canceled and
or the 9th.
I will let you know if any applications come in where we need to meet at some other date in September, or if it can wait till October.
That sounds great. Again, I really appreciate everybody being able to make themselves available tonight. With Elizabeth's departure from the commission, we do have an opening. I would like us to think about who might be qualified or interested and invite them to participate as a guest in our next meeting so they can kind of get a sense of what we do and how we do it. So I'll leave you with that thought. Is there anything else that we need to discuss tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Greg.
Karen,
Yes.
are this evening's guests physically present?
No, they were in a different room. I think they've left.
Okay.
I'm in
All
my
right, well-
office. They were set up in the boardroom.
Okay, I only asked because I just wanted to comment on our discussion this evening.
But we're still in recording.
Yeah, do you want
Okay, no, I
to?
understand. I don't think I'm going to say anything too strange. I just wanted to comment that I think we made the right decision tonight on the color. And I wanted to thank everybody because it's not an easy thing to have to do. And but it was the correct decision. And in the big book I showed earlier, it pretty much shows that that is the proper decision. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it should all be one color.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're all on the same page, and it's never pleasant to have to tell an owner something that they don't want to hear. But we have a job to do, and I think we do it well.
Well, and it is probably, we have a lot of beautiful homes in the district, but that one certainly is up there in the pecking order.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we can
Getting
just.
better every day.
Yep, if we could just get some of the other absentee landlords or other buildings that have fallen into some disrepair
Yes.
to have as much attention put to it. I think
Well,
would be remarkable.
unfortunately, last meeting's subject home and tonight's subject home, in their vast improvements, it's making the glaring problems of those other homes more obvious, which is, just the way it is.
Well, it may be the way it is, but there's other things that could be done. I wasn't able to participate in all of the sessions from the conference. There was a couple that I particularly missed, but they gave me the links. I can review them between now and October 1st. So I plan to do so. And maybe there may be some guidelines as to how to bring demolition by neglect issues to the forefront. Something we need to also collectively kind of work on. I'm sure at some point we will stumble upon the right solution, so to speak. But obviously, the sale of this building and finding the right person that's willing to make the investment is a step in the right direction. Hopefully with the real estate activity that's currently happening, people might see the opportunity to, either fix them up or put them on the market to get them in the hands of somebody who will fix them up. They are more and more, I think, objects of desire. The traffic situation is something that I'm also concerned about, and I've spoken to several people. Again, that's an ongoing issue. I'm open to suggestions on how we can correct that as well. So with that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Greg. All in favor? Say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you again. And I believe this is a record for getting through an application in less.
Sorry.
Nope, not a problem, Karen. Again, thank you. Thank you all.
Craig, before you go, any thoughts or any news on the development down at